AMW and 3 Live Crew against Team Canada. That's the thing that happened this month.
Who gives a shite?
February 18th, Impact. Dustin and AMW were looking for a bull rope in Dusty's truck. They found it and gave Tracy a signed contract for a Dustin and Raven bull rope match at Destination X. We'll also do the bull rope match here because that's the same build, apparently. Then a classic TNA segment happened. So after this, Tracy is sitting alone in the truck and Abyss shows up.
She was cleaning up the mess that AMW made.
That's fair. Abyss takes the contract for a title match that he won in the Full Metal Mayhem match against Jeff Hardy.
Which is like wet.
Yeah, it's like torn and wet. Who knows what Abyss has been doing with this contract?
He bathed with it. That's
one thing. He took that contract, he stuffed it in Tracy's pants, he then hit his pose, and he left.
My favourite part was him hitting his pose. It's actually good continuity that it was wet because of how wet Abyss is at all times.
That makes sense, yeah. Maybe he just kept it in his wet pockets.
I'm not going to make the joke.
He actually doesn't get his number one contender match, so maybe it's, Dusty's like, actually the wetness makes it null and void because I'm not touching that
This
shit.
is a voided contract.
Because he wrestles Styles in a number one contenders match at Lockdown, and he never gets his title match. He won a title match. He's owed a title match.
Give my man his title match.
Next show, Franchise has Raven. He talks about the bull rope match. Raven's like, I'm actually pretty okay with it being a bull rope match. I've done worse. Then talks about he is the most unforgiving person on the planet and will set Dustin free by destroying him.
I like how he went back to his rhyming bullshit.
Management is souring on Raven.
Just knowing what's about to happen.
As they blame him, not Dustin, for the quality of their recent matches. I wonder why.
Fucking stupid.
The general assumption is that Raven asked to work with Dustin in the hopes it would score points with Dusty, but it backfired.
Okay.
Dustin Rhodes faces Eric Young on the March 4th show.
Trunks Eric.
Tenay takes a little shot at WWE here. He's like, we did Piper's Pit months ago, because I assume they announced they were doing Piper's Pit. It's the Austin one for WrestleMania in 2005.
Yeah. Which is unhinged, by the way.
Well,
tremendous angle. Go listen to it.
This era of Piper, what more could you expect?
They just let him go out there. After this year.
Yeah, they saw the TNA segments and were like, let's just cut him loose.
Put him in there with Austin.
But today is like, we influenced the wrestling world. We did it first, and then other people, as if he fucking invented Piper's Pit.
Where did Piper's Pit first start?
Just like we were like, we invented covering 2010 TNA. Mike Tenay was like, never mind the WWF in the 1980s. We invented Piper's Pit.
It's true. We did. We invented Piper's Pit.
So there's a moment in this match where Young jumps off the top rope, and the spot is meant to be Dustin catches him and Atomic drops him, but Dustin is completely lost, and Young basically does the move himself.
Young, he tries, man.
He like grabs Dustin's arm, lifts himself up, and Atomic drops himself. Bless him. Rhodes hit a super kick, but Rude jumped on the apron. AMW came down to even the odds. Dustin hit D'Amore with a bulldog and then followed with a power slam for the win on Young. TNA officials were under the impression Piper was just doing WrestleMania and would be returning to TNA shortly after that. That could wind up happening like that, but if it does, it will probably only be if WWE doesn't want to use Piper any longer. So TNA are like, he's only going there for a little while.
Yeah, he'll be back.
They want him back for some reason.
I don't know. Maybe he's just fun to be around.
Oh, I forgot in the last show, there's a Team Canada against Dustin and AMW match.
Who cares?
D'Amore tried to interfere, Dustin backdrops him. Divine actually does hit Dustin with the hockey stick, and then Harris tries to clean house, but he gets Northern Lariated for the Rude win.
It was a great Northern Lariat, though, to be fair.
I love the Northern Lariat.
It's a cool move. I like that it's a Hanson reference, too.
I kind of get why no one does it, because if you do it wrong, you do actually just clothesline somebody in the back of the head. And
also, like, if the sell isn't good, it kind of looks like shit, too. Like, it's a very 50-50 move.
And I guess it's hard to sell because by design, you can't see the dude coming.
Yeah. I don't think it's a finish, but I think it's a great sig.
Good move for Rude. The March 11th Impact, one that's cut off Impact Plus if you watch it, so you won't see this segment unless you watch the original broadcast version. AMW and Dustin Rhodes were in Dusty's truck.
Send us $50 and we'll give you the original broadcast.
They were having a great old time in Dusty's truck with Tracy and Trinity. They were up to all sorts of antics and shenanigans and giggling. AMW and Dustin were just having a good time with Tracy and Trinity.
You don't know that.
That's true, I guess I don't. Team Canada showed up, D'Amore challenged him to a fight as AMW appeared to accept, setting up the pay-per-view match. So that gives us 2 pay-per-view matches, Liam, to talk about. The opener of which was Team Canada, the team of Bobby Roode, Eric Young, Petey Williams, and A1, defeating America's Most Wanted and the 3 Live Crew combination of B. James and Conan.
Like, maybe the 3rd best match on the card.
It was a high-energy, perfectly fine little opener. Conan press slams D'Amore off the top, then got caught with a Northern Lariat, as Team Canada get, I think, a much-needed win.
They've kind of just been like perennial losers and roadblocks for the babyfaces, so they kind of do need to actually get some heat behind them. It felt like they were getting that way before when everyone was picking up titles and stuff, and then that was only used for that 1 month. But let's get some movement on this. I love D'Amore's antics in this match. His face when he got like beaten up, he's just like, ah!
Yeah, we talked about how you can beat Team Canada a lot, and you really can, but you can't beat them all the time.
Yeah, you gotta give him these little wins.
And then Dustin Rhodes defeated Raven in a bull rope match.
Well, you love this match, so why don't you talk about it?
I think I gave it 2 1/4.
Yeah, I gave it 1.45.
The well-known wrestling rating of 1.45.
Yep, out of 10.
It's out of 5, but we should do hyper granularity where it's like down to like the 5th decimal point on all ratings.
Yep.
The crowd at the start of the match start tauntingly chanting "Gold Dust" at Dustin.
Haha.
They have thoroughly turned on him. The classic Raven was reluctant to put the bull rope on, but then put it on. At one stage, Dustin was choking Raven with the bull rope, and Don West on commentary was just like, he's been choked by worse, so he's probably fine with this.
Kinky.
He's been in Hangman Horrors matches.
Oh.
We are talking about wrestling here, Liam.
I mean, I believe it both ways.
I'm perfectly sure that he has also been choked in other capacities, but we are strictly speaking about wrestling.
Put it on pay-per-view, we'll see how it does.
It'd probably do better than this show did. Raven had a chair, Dustin accidentally punched it, but then just hit his bulldog immediately after for the win. To audible boos, crowd was not happy he beat Raven.
This show sucked. This was like the downfall too. This was the first match where you're like, the first 2, they're like, whatever, they probably shouldn't have just been on the show, but they ended up being like 2 of the better matches on the show. And then this was just like the beginning of the end.
So yeah, Dustin went over. Team Canada attack after the match, AMW made the save.
Let's talk about John Fairplay, because then we can end it with some fun discussion about what the worst match in TNA history might be.